Hey guys, I am so excited to show you this pin. So I've got a Boba Fett pin today. He he's so good. I love him so much. I just love Boba Fett. He's my favorite Star Wars character. I have always liked Boba Fett. Now this is the old uniform, like our new uniform. His original one is like all green, but this is the modern one that they have for the Mandalorian TV show. And this is obviously a Mandalorian themed pin, but it's pretty cool. I'm excited to do this pin for you. I had planned to have it all done by May the 4th. That didn't happen, but I still have the pins. I still made the craft, so I want to make sure I share it with you guys, and I hope you guys like it. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Comment, like, subscribe, all the things. Don't forget you can always purchase my crafts on Whatnot or direct message me. I usually have them available. If I don't, then I'll let you know when I might possibly have more pins that would for that craft. And yeah, so thanks for being here, guys, and you have a great day. Hey guys, so here's our pin. It's another fig pin from the Mandalorian. This one's the Mandalorian. Well, actually, I think all the pins I've used have been from the Mandalorian. The Ahsoka was a Mandalorian one. Obviously the Mandalorian, and then Grogu and all that. I mean, so anyway, just so cool. So happy to be able to craft with Boba Fett. Boba Fett's my favorite Star Wars character. So he's my favorite Star Wars character. So I just love it. And even though this clothing is technically from the Mandalorian, he's still, I don't know, he's still so epic. You know, he's just the greatest character. Anyway, he doesn't speak much in the movies, but I don't know. My mom was a bounty hunter, so I think that's kind of why I have a thing for him as a bounty hunter. I don't know. It's just, she was a bounty hunter when I was a kid, or well, teenager, and so maybe that's why I have a thing for it. But anyway, she wasn't like Dog the Bounty Hunter, but she was a bounty hunter. Anyway, let's get started. We're going to be using, we use this for Pocahontas. This is the Everyday Skies paper. We're going to be using some of this. I got some great pieces from, I cut up the piece already because I just kind of wanted to be as quick as possible on filming this because I've got so many Star Wars crafts I'm trying to make for you guys for May the 4th. So the piece we used was this sky piece. And I believe it was like this, yeah. Because, yeah, the sun sets down low. Oh, wrong piece. And so, nope, that's not it either. There it is, okay. And so you see it's so beautiful, right? Such a beautiful sky. I just loved this sunset, and I just thought it was so pretty. And so I wanted to make sure that this is what I used to do our craft. The other paper we're using is from Oh Holy Night, which is no longer available, this paper, but the sheet that we're using is, we're not using this one. We could because the sand. We're actually going to be using some of this, which I cut before. And that's why I have this big scrap right here. This paper, here I have a little mini one. Sorry, let me show you the mini. I have a sample. I got this sample from my friend Candy. It was a paper sample, and these are some scraps I used. So all of the 12 by 12s have like it's supposed to be like kind of like Bethlehem. So a night sky and the sand dunes pattern on the back, night sky again. And then Bethlehem is, in theory, this had a stamp set with it that was like Bethlehem and pattern on the back. I was thinking I might use this for Grogu. I used this one for Ahsoka, and there's this like really subtle tile pattern in here, and another night sky with the back pattern. So it's really, really pretty paper, and it's perfect for Tatooine and the desert, and you know, it just really screams, you know, using it for this particular craft. So I'm going to go ahead. What I did was I took this giant sheet and I cut it into fourths. I cut it into fourths. And so it looks like this piece went here and it looks like this piece went here. And so I had cut up the page, and that's how I wound up with these two pieces. And we're going to do some more trimming on them. Let's go ahead and use this one. And actually, no, let's use this one. We're going to take advantage of this that they already have made, the sand dune they already have made on the paper. We're taking advantage of that. The everyday skies, we're taking advantage of how beautiful it is, and we'll be trimming this up. And then we're also going to be trimming this up. A lot of this is just paper manipulation for Boba Fett, and then we'll trim. The key is I trimmed this to 4x6. And like I said, we're probably going to be trimming off like an inch from the top, probably. Because I want to cover this bottom cloud with our sand dune, you know. And so I want the sunset up higher in the paper. So I had to figure, oh, I guess probably about an inch and a half maybe. Because I want to make sure that this sunset is behind Boba Fett, but we've got the sand dunes down in front. And you'll see what I mean as we get going. So I'm going to take advantage of the shape of this sand dune, and I'm just going to cut along the sand dune. It already gave us a line. And we're going to be using both sides of this little 4x6. I hadn't planned that when I started this video, but I realized, wait, that actually helps a lot. So we've got our basic layer here, and we're going to have to trim some of this off because it's a little too tall. And so I'm just kind of waiting. I want to figure out my layout, and it's going to be different on every craft because it's all dependent on the paper. So, you know, I don't know, that's a little tall. So if I got that right at the bottom, that seems a little bit too tall. I think I could probably trim like an inch off of it and still get, because I want a lot of that sunset. So let's go ahead and trim this with our paper trimmer. Remember, you can always buy supplies at fabulousstamper.com. This paper is a retired paper. So, you know, you can always get that possibly from my friends. So let's go ahead and measure. Let's see, we need, I'm going to trim 3 inches. Or maybe I should trim, like, how wide is this? It's 6 3/4. Okay, so I really like this piece here. Well, I guess I'm going to be trimming it, so let's do 3. Let's do 3 inches, and then we need it to be 4 inches. Okay. And, oh, and you know what? I'm going to trim like 3/4 of an inch off this bottom piece here so far, just to help us get a better guide. Let's see if that works. I think that actually is just right. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand. This looks a little bit like a mistake. It's not, but I don't want someone who buys my craft to think I gave them a mistake. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to trim from over here. Yeah, we're going to trim from right here. And we're just going to mimic a similar kind of pattern as the right side. In this case, it's not mirroring it exactly with the scoop, but you know, it has elements that are similar. All right. So, and I think I'm gonna have to trim a little bit on the bottom. Yeah, it's a little too tall, darn. Okay, so I like, let me trim a tiny bit off the bottom. Like I said, the hardest part about this one is just getting the measurements just right. Okay, I want a 1/4 inch, but I want off. Okay, let's see. I didn't want too much off, and I'll trim the height of this a little bit. Maybe I'll trim a little bit more. I'm gonna trim another 1/4 inch off because I like that dark piece. And we might need to adjust this just a little bit. I cut a little too much. So we're going back to, this is going to be a little bit higher. This one's going to be a little bit lower. And then this piece is going to come in here and start low and then maybe go in and then come out the top, I think. Yeah. So let me make sure I start in a good spot. We're going to go up. So this one's going to have like a strong dip, but it's going to be behind this, so it'll be fine. Let's just keep this guide. See, that way it's a little more natural, dipping in and out. Okay, there we go. I like that better. So this piece on the top here is going to come down and really curl this white piece here. So we don't need it to be the full length, but we do need it to curl most of it. And so I don't want it to be exactly. So we'll have it round up a little high and then down a little lower and then out a little bit. And hopefully that will be seen. Let's see if that's enough. I needed to add this little bit of shimmer paper, gold shimmer paper. I think it's champagne or something, but I needed it. This part of the sky just needed a little something. On the other Boba Fett I already made, it just needed a little something. So that little bit of sky, I actually think I'm going to just round this out a little bit more, make it a little bit lower, because it just needs a little shimmer, just a little something. So let's go ahead and just make it a little smaller. And we'll just have it hug. And it just adds just the right, because when it was just this white against the sunset, it just looked a little flat. So adding that one little layer of gold just popped the piece up. Okay, I think we can get going to gluing. We're gonna go ahead and, oh, that's my, glue our piece down. So all of this cardstock is current. So this is 5x7 of Night of Navy. I had to trim this down a little bit more because my frame is a little bit narrower inside. And then this is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 of early espresso cardstock. Again, all available at fabulousstamper.com along with the cutter. Now this paper is retired, but you can find some sunset paper right now at fabulousstamper.com. Click shop with me, and we have some different sunset paper and skyline papers. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this, yeah, I want this side down. Okay. Put this down. So we got that down. We're gonna glue these two together. This is gonna be my front layer. And then we'll glue the back layer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put these together just like that. Line them right up against each other. That actually also helps stiffen this little designer paper. Oh, sorry if the light is a little dark. I wanted to film this quickly, but I forgot that the paper manipulation takes a little bit of time. Because I have to see where all the design falls. All right, so see, that's going to be popped up in dimensionals. And this is going to be glued above this little hill here. So I didn't need to continue it. Since I only have a little bit of that shimmer paper, I didn't want to waste it. Ooh, that's like too much glue. That was a lot of glue. We just want that peeking up at the top. And so just that little bit of shimmer just adds just such a nice touch to our craft. So let's go ahead and glue this down, and I want it to cover this little, let me make sure I'm gonna glue it in the right spot. Okay. So let's glue this down. Just gonna make sure this is straight on this side. Okay. And then this will cover that little corner there. Yeah. Just had to check. Well, that's crooked. Let's put that down really crooked. Nope. Hold on. I gotta make sure that is there. That looks great right there in that corner. Now I gotta make sure this lines up over here on this corner. Okay, there we go. All right, so there is our Boba Fett, basic Boba Fett. Then we're gonna put our label, and I printed out a label. All right, and this goes at the top. Put some dimensionals. I use the rectangle dies for this one. Rectangle dies are retired, but you can always pick up, a label die at fabulousstamper.com. And so we make a different type of rectangle now, something similar. And let's go ahead and get this in the center up here. I think that looks good. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put our Boba Fett right down here in the center. But you see how that like little bit of shimmer adds dimension? These papers alone were just a little too flat. And this, of course, is gorgeous. But that tiny bit of gold shimmer just adds just enough. It doesn't make it girly, but it does make it, it just adds this little bit of texture to the frame to make it beautiful. And so I just really wanted to make sure that was the case, that it looked right. So we're going to go ahead and take some glue dots and put them down on the back of our pin. Oh, and we also need to put, he needs, we have to put 2 dimensionals, I think, on him to get him to adhere his head down. And so I won't pull it off yet until I'm sure. So we'll go ahead and we'll make it first. Well, let's make our holes and then we'll add all our glue. That's what I find to be the best. And so I want his feet to be right. I don't want him to be coming down off the frame. And you just press straight down. He looks centered. Let's just check and make sure. Yeah, 2 dimensionals on his head. And then we add glue dots to the back because the glue dots just help make sure that Boba Fett stays down on the frame. They are archival safe. They're not going to damage your pin, but I intentionally put them on the back there because, you know, when you ship it and whatever, you know, things move, you know, so you want to make sure, you know, your stuff stays, arrives safely. So, yeah. So I make sure to add, I add a glue dot right at the base of my pin. And again, archival safe, it's not going to damage it. And I'll add one down here too. It's just at the base, and it just glues it to your paper. And then we'll add some glue on the back too, but yeah, we're good enough. Sometimes I let my obsessive, you know, oh, and we need to take the glue, the backing off of the dimensional on his head. And that just makes sure that his head stays nice and flat and glued down too. So everything should stay, Boba Fett should stay nice and tight attached to the frame. It looks so good. And so then we're gonna make sure to add a glue dot on the back here. Yeah, and I just kind of press on that, make sure those glue dots are nice and adhered to my paper. We're also going to add a glue dot on the back right here through the pin so that when we put it in the foam, it's also attached into the foam. Okay, so let's get our frame. Okay, so you can find these frames. I have a storefront, you guys. So these frames are available at my fabulousstamper.com. I have a storefront so that you can pick these up. So I'm going to clean this off a little. There's a lot of dust these last shipments of before I take off the last shipments of these frames have come with a ton of dust. And that's inside the packaging. So it's like the warehouse where they package them, super dusty. It wasn't like that in the first few I had, but it's definitely like that for these. I mean, just so much dust. I mean, just tons and tons of dust. I don't know if it's just this batch or what, but it's been quite interesting. All right, and then we have our instructions here. And then we have our layer and our plexiglass. So the key to the plexiglass is you just peel it off and don't mess with it. So peel off your layers and then don't touch it. Just put it right down. If anything gets on the plexiglass, just use a sticky note to try and lift it up. Okay. And because there's been so much dust on these, let's see if there's anything. I don't think that's on the inside. I think that's on the outside. Oh, that was the inside. Okay. Just wanting to make sure the dust isn't inside. I guess some of it. It's just hard. It's not perfect, but I don't want to mess up the Okay. Then we put our little square down, our spacer. Then we put our Boba Fett on the foam. And because I have the glue down there, we put him right in the foam. Now for my frame, I had to make this blue piece a little less than 5 by 7. So it's not exactly 5 inches and it's not exactly 7 inches. It's just under for both sides, because this frame sometimes doesn't like the actual 5 by 7 measurement. Even the instructions that they send are not really 5 by 7, and they actually scrunch, or they're 5 by 7, but they scrunch up in the frame. So there's something about the measurement maybe that's a little bit off, but it works perfect for us and gives us the advantage of a nice frame without a large price point. And so let's go ahead and get anything off the top here. I knew that was on the front. Okay, there we go. Just getting these last bits. Just that little bit of dust. And you're never going to get it perfect, but you know, I want to have it nice because I am selling it in my whatnot. And so, yeah, and it's a wood frame, so I like these frames. They're really nice shadow box frames and a good price. So there is our Boba Fett. I was tempted to add rocks and other things, but honestly, Boba Fett is so simple. The complicated part is making the scene of the sand dunes, but it sure did turn out cool. Thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate you. I am so grateful you're here. I'm just grateful that you guys enjoy my videos, and I enjoy making them. I enjoy teaching you guys. And I hope you guys have an excellent day.